welcome to an end of year recap with my new partner in crime. This is Gloria. End of 2024, I'm going to recap land business, life business, everything, all of it. And I think you're going to learn a thing or two in this video, so make sure to stick around. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Now, before we get started, I need to let you guys know, this year, we have quite literally had hundreds of people change their life inside of Leah, which is our 12-month group coaching program that shows you how to go from A to Z in your land business. We remove the heartache of not knowing how to find great markets, of doing deals that net you $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 and get you to the point where you're doing deals that make you $20, $40, $50, $100,000. And most importantly, we show you how to build a business that has the infrastructure to stand up on its own two legs. Most land investors are glorified side hustlers. They have no business. The foundation hasn't been set. And what you're chasing, whether you realize it or not now, is freedom. We show you how to develop a life of freedom via building a high leverage land investing business. Now, we are giving away the sauce on a free call. So go to landinvestor.co/apply. Now, this call is all about reciprocity. We will share our playbook, our strategy. And if it resonates, you'll say, hey, I would love to work with you guys for 12 months. And if you don't, that's fine too. Like, I believe in reciprocity no matter what the interaction is. So if you choose not to work with us, really no harm, no foul. But you owe it to yourself to get on that call, right? I tell my team, it's the max amount of utility in every situation we find ourselves in. So we try to provide the most utility possible. So hop on that call if you want to have the best 2025 of your life. Now's the time to do it. All right, I'm going to enjoy a little Partagas, by saying that wrong, a little Cuban shorty, if you will. And yeah, we're just gonna talk life here, talk business and riff. Obviously, I've got a new puppy. If you guys didn't know, 2024, I lost my best friend, my most beautiful little angel, which was Sequoia. She has not been replaced. You never replace that piece of yourself, but we've got a new friend, Gloria, who was smuggled into the island of Bali 2 days ago. Quite literally smuggled, had to be hidden in a car, going through customs. Like, she's essentially an illegal coyote in Bali, even though she's a French English bulldog. So 2024, my best year in business ever. It's funny because, you know, if you ask me how are things going, I would list off all the problems that I'm experiencing and the growing pains and this and this and this. And I think a lot of people will resonate with that, right? If I asked you, how's your land business doing? You might say, I don't know, man, I just lost this deal or X, Y, and Z. But if you actually just zoom out and look at the numbers, you probably had an amazing year. And I had an amazing year as well. You know, it's funny, I see this inside of Leah. People are like, Sumner, like we had a guy named Preston, right? He's done 18 deals his first less than a year inside of Leah. 9 sold, 9 under contract. Feels like he's behind the curve. We got another guy named Mike V. Tons of deals. He'll do about 300K his first year. No real estate experience before this. Feels behind the curve. Like, everyone always feels behind the curve, and that's just a funny little psychological habit that we develop as entrepreneurs, where we're so used to solving problems that all we think about are problems, all we ever see are the problems. But I think it's worthwhile to zoom out and look at the big picture. Pat yourself on the back. If you are doing deals, like, dude, you are so much further along than most people in the land business, and even beyond the land business. In America, if you have the luxury to work for yourself, I don't think you realize how many people yearn for that. And then if you zoom out to the world, the fact that you're able to support yourself and make a great income, even if it's less than what you wanted, is fucking insane. You are way richer than you realize. And that deserves some gratitude for the luck and the good fortune that we've had in our life. That's something that I've really come to appreciate living in Bali. You meet people that are making consistently 150, 200 bucks a month. And yeah, you lose perspective, right? Oh, I only made $20,000 on this deal. Dude, $20,000 is like 8x what they would make in a year. It's so easy to lose perspective. And so I think that's one of the beautiful things about traveling. That's one of the beautiful things about creating a life and a business that provides freedom, is you get to go and implant yourself into different worlds, truly what feel like different worlds. And moving here to Bali has given me so much perspective, and traveling in general. You know, I think if you're going to come up in your land business, you are locked in, you're in the vortex, you're grinding. Don't forget about travel. I really think it is one of the best investments that you can make dollar for dollar, but I also think it helps you in your business. Like, I think having these ebbs and flows where you zig and zag, you go hard, you pull back is important. I also think getting a different perspective on how people live is important. And I think creating some white space in your life is important. What do I mean by that? Well, for example, flying on airplanes has seriously made me millions of dollars in revenue from airplanes. And I was thinking about this. I just got back from Turkey like 4 days ago. And I was thinking about, I get in these airplanes and I'm just fucking flowing. It's like somehow I'm like higher up and I'm getting more downloads from God or something. I don't know what's going on, but I just get dumped on and I get all this just like inspiration. I just get this fire in my belly, and it's because there's so much white space. I never get the Wi-Fi on planes. I can't text anyone, I can't call anyone. I've got no one reaching out to me. And that white space allows for creativity to expand. And if you're in that grind set mode, you've got no space for creativity. And at the end of the day, it's like, what do we get paid for as entrepreneurs? We get paid based off the quality of our decisions. And great decisions come from some kind of adjacent thinking, if you will, which is creative, right? It's like looking at it from straight on, which is how most people look at it. Get a few degrees adjacent, you see it from a whole new angle, you think of new solutions, and that's creativity, in my opinion. And that's why for me, business is a creative pursuit, it's a creative endeavor. And so I need that white space where I'm not getting, there's no inputs coming into me, and I don't have a to-do list. I'm not forced to do things. And so one of the most productive things that you can do is take time off, and ideally do it in a place where you have no routine. You're completely flipped on your head. And that seems like the most counterproductive thing to do while you're working and you're in that grind mode. But I promise you, some of the best money you'll spend in 2025. It might be the best investment you make in 2025. Now, this year, I think I went a little buck wild with the travel. I've taken probably over 35, 40 flights this year. And I think I've kind of hit my max on travel, which I'm super grateful for. I don't want that to change. It's a blessing in my life, but I think I'm going to kind of pull that back in 2025. I haven't had a home base for 6 months, right? No house, no nothing. We've been bouncing around from Airbnb and country to country. And I will say the nomad thing is definitely glorified, but that is super counterproductive in my experience. I think you need a home base where you lock in for 6 to 18 weeks at a time, and then you have some reprieve and you pull back, and then you go back and forth. So yeah, get out there, get in the world if you can. It's seriously just one of the best investments you could possibly make. Now, speaking of Bali, I bought a house here about a week ago. It's been an absolute shit show. It's been an absolute nightmare. My roof broke, the walls were cracking, huge leaks, mold problems. So we're in an Airbnb right now. We're essentially tearing the house apart currently, putting a new roof on, doing a ton of work to it. And it also reminds me that home ownership is not what it's cracked up to be. We've been sold a bundle of goods that I don't think is actually what it really is made out to be. And so I think that renting is high value as an entrepreneur, especially to have that mobility and that freedom. But anyways, we should be moving in the next week or two, building an office, building a filming studio, getting set in. And I'm really looking to lay roots here in 2025 and push. I don't want to jinx it. I'm careful what I speak into the world. And I think it's not entirely possible, but it's somewhat possible that we hit 8 figures next year in revenue between all the different businesses. I think there's probably about a 30% chance that happens. We'll see. I'm not factoring in the sales value of land. I think that's kind of a crock of crap. And people say, oh, my business did $10 million, but that was $10 million worth of land that they sold, and maybe whatever, 4 million, 5 million of gross profit. I'm thinking revenue. That to me is something totally different. And that's cumulative for the businesses. So that's kind of on my mind. We'll see if we get there. Now, there's a lot of things that I need to work on to even make that somewhat of a possibility. I'll share what that looks like right now. In business, like I said, the quality of your decisions is really what you get paid off of. And that's my gift. I'm an idea man. I'm an experimenter. I'm a bit of a scientist in the business lens. But when I get bogged down in the minutia of the day-to-day, my ability to experiment becomes throttled, right? And I really think about experiments as being the lifeblood of a successful business, because business it's a game of differentiation, right? You need to have something obviously that people want, and then you also need to have something that maybe other people can't get elsewhere, like consumers can only find it through you. And that differentiation comes from creativity, comes from thinking, comes from running experiments. And so I think about running experiments in my business as the lifeblood. I also think about them in terms of like venture capital bets, okay? So every decision is almost like its own business, every experiment. And if you think about venture capital, they're playing the 10% game, okay? 10 investments, one pans out really big, maybe 8 completely flop. One of the other ones is okay, but there's one outsized killer that makes up for all the losses. Experiments in your business is very much the same thing. It's a game of power laws, okay? And so you got to take a lot of shots on goal, and a lot of them won't work, and some will work really, really big. And I find when I'm in my experimentation mode is when I'm able to drive home the results for the business, for the team members, and for myself. But with running so many different businesses and having so many different people, we've still been in the mode of Sumner as the manager, Sumner as the leader to some extent. And that really is encroaching my ability to think creatively and have like 10x impact. And so in order to get there, I've got the right people in the right places, but I've yet to develop true leaders. And we've gotten close in some of the businesses, but there's still a huge disconnect there. And so it's a big area for me. Can I build and help to foster true leaders, like true leaders? And I'm able to lead a team, but it's actually like not the highest use of my time. And ultimately, it's not the best outcome for my team either. Like, I'm here to drive results for the organization and for the team. And if they win, everything else will fall into place. But when I'm Sumner, the manager, I'm actually doing everyone a disservice. Now, how the hell do you build better leaders? I don't know. I'm figuring that out. How do you lead leaders? Like, that's a whole different conundrum. And I've spent years trying to be a leader and build teams. This is a whole different level, but I know that it's the next step in our journey. On top of that, better documentation, right? And what I mean is like internally, better KPIs for all the businesses, more visibility, and better SOPs. Like, I'm not gonna lie, in a lot of the businesses, because they're growing or they're older, we've got outdated SOPs, they're not centralized, it's very messy. And that's a huge problem. And that's like true in all the businesses. And I think when a business is growing, like your SOPs are always lagging, at least if you're someone like me. And I know there's a big lift to be done there. And so that's a big undertaking for all the businesses. Now, one of the things that we've been using is Notion for SOPs, and that's been killer. Everything's centralized in one place. It's blended with text, video, audio. It's just like the best way to build SOPs. And I wish I knew about it sooner, honestly. Before, we were using Google Drives, little like infographic design things, and it was just really messy. And so we're revamping and revising that in all the different businesses inside of Notion, which is a really big lift, but something pretty powerful. Now, if you're trying to build documentation for your team, let me back up. If your team is underperforming, it's almost always a you problem, right? And that's the ownership a leader needs to take. It's almost always a you problem. What does that you problem look like? One, you hired the wrong person. That's a you problem, not a them problem. That's you, okay? Wrong person. Second thing is bad onboarding. They weren't onboarded and trained correctly. Third thing is bad documentation. And the fourth thing is bad incentives or the wrong incentives. And so most times if you have team members that are underperforming, it's you. And when I look at some of the underperformance in terms of building leaders, it's a me problem, right? And so going through and documenting both for like the individual roles and also for cultivating these leaders, how do you build SOPs for leadership, you know? It's a whole different game. But anyways, if you're in your journey, I recommend use Notion to build out your SOPs and blend your SOPs with text, with video. And then I also like to build in examples. Like, so if we're doing acquisitions in that SOP, don't just like train them on how to do it, show them too. And so we'll like add like audio recordings from live calls and things along those lines, which is pretty exciting. So that's a really big lift for me, right? One of my big goals this year is I want every single person on our team and all the different businesses to make 6 figures or more. So we'll see if we can do that. It's a big goal for me. Really is, I think, like in the beginning, you're hyper selfish in your businesses. And then it becomes thinking about the organization and thinking about the individual team members. And you know, if that falls into place, everything else will work out on a personal level. So it's a big goal for me this year. And one of the things too is to get better at content. I make videos like these because they're easy to make and they're fun for me to make, but taking it to another level. And I found that content has been more valuable than I ever would have thought. Now, I don't like the idea of being the guy that talks about it and doesn't do it. And so I can't let content outpace what's really important, which is being an operator. And I think a lot of the people in the land business that make content, they're not operators. Like, I'm just gonna be real with you. I know the back end of these people's businesses. I can't speak for everyone. Most of them aren't doing diddly squat. Like, content comes first or coaching comes first. I don't ever want to be that person. Not that there's anything wrong with it. It's just not for me, right? So I want to get better at content, and that requires building out a better content team. Now, I've actually got my editing team that's in the Philippines flying out to Bali February 4th through the 9th, and we're going deep on content, building out our whole entire strategy for the year, filming a ton of content. One of the things we're getting better at is like the research behind our content. You know, I've always just turned on the camera and started talking. Some people like it, some people probably don't. And so trying to bring that to another level. Again, I've just found that like it's such a powerful top of funnel for everything that I do. And it carries over into every single business. And I don't give it the time and the energy that it deserves. So it's a big focus for me. Anyways, I'm excited for that. I'm excited to bring more value to you guys, share more with you guys. We've got a ton of crazy features and updates that are coming to Land Insights. We've got our comping tool, road frontage scrubs. some really secret things that I can't share here. We're having some pretty big price reductions for the internal marketplace, so continuing to bring costs down for our users with economies of scale. Most businesses think the opposite. How do I increase my margin, keep the price the same? I say, how do I increase my margin and lower the price for our users? This is like the Costco model. If you hold a membership, I want to continue to give more and more value via features and discounted pricing. So we've got something pretty big there dropping at the very beginning of January, which I think people are going to absolutely love. We've got new programs coming out inside of Leah this year, our acquisition program, our marketing flywheel program, which shows you how to bolt in texting with mail and build this marketing flywheel to double your leads without really creating any more work in your business. And on top of that, a big area for me is I think like travel has been the big thing over the last few years outside of work. But the two big areas for me outside of work this year are focusing on fostering my faith, whatever that might look like, still undecided, and then more interpersonal work, more personal development. I really need a coach. I need a mentor. I need someone who's farther along than me that's done what I wanted to do, whatever that looks like, whether I pay them a huge amount of money or we become friends or what have you. I've noticed, and I don't say this to toot my own horn at all, but I love my friends. I would never change my friend group for the world, but I am the most successful person in my friend group for close friends. And I'm not looking to change those friends, but I need someone in my life who's 20 steps ahead of me. And I don't have anyone like that. You know, I have colleagues that are definitely further along than me for sure, but I want someone who's 20 steps ahead of me. Someone that's exited a business for 9 figures, or someone that's done things in the business world that are 20 steps ahead of me. And ideally someone though who's still admirable even outside of their career. And so I'm looking for a needle in a haystack, someone that's done what I'm looking to do, but also has a good family life, hasn't sacrificed their values, like someone who's got it all, I guess, for lack of a better word. And I've never really had mentors. Like I've paid people for coaching, but I'm looking for a dad, a grandpa, an uncle figure that takes me under their wing. Again, whether I pay them, I'm open to that. But it's a big focus for me. And I really can't stress enough, investing in your education, whether it's personal development, whether it's business related, whether it's just mentors, it's huge. It is seriously one of the best, like dollar for dollar, one of the best investments you can possibly make. But I think even beyond that, having a shoulder to lean on or proverbially cry on when things get hard, someone that's been through that hardship that can be that shoulder for you and that support, dude, it's huge. Because my bottleneck, and probably your bottleneck as well, is like, what's our nervous system able to handle? And we're able to handle more when someone can pat us on the back and say, I've been there, you're gonna be okay, kid. Like, you lost this deal, don't worry about it. All right, I do this inside of Leah all the time. Someone comes crying to me, they lost a deal, something blew up in their business. It's like, I've been there, you're good. Like, you're gonna make it through this. And I see it's like instantly, like, okay, I'm back to it. I need that, right? I feel like a lot of the challenges I come across, I don't know who to lean on. I've got support groups and friends, but someone that's been through that, someone that can advise and provide wise counsel. I'm looking for someone with wisdom. And no matter where you're at, find someone that's a few steps ahead of you. And I really think that it's the best money you can make, or the best money you can spend. And it goes so much further beyond strategies. It also completely resets your expectations on what you think is even possible, you know? And I need that. I'm looking for that. So anyways, guys, hope you enjoyed this video. That's all I got for you. If you want to get our free Land Insights Chrome pricing extensions or comping extension, I'll put the link here at landinsights.co/Chrome. Go check it out. Hope you guys have a great end of the year, and I'm looking forward to seeing you in 2025. Let's make it the best one yet. Hey guys, I want to let you know that inside of Leah, that is our 12-month group coaching program, we have added a 6-figure guarantee. That's 6 figures in gross pipeline profit in 12 months, or we will work with you until you get there. Now, that is not a guarantee that you will hit 6 figures in pipeline profit in 12 months. No, that is a guarantee that we will get you there no matter what the timeline is. Might happen in 3 months, might happen in 6 months, might happen in 24 months. The guarantee is you get to plug into our system, which is essentially a business in a box for land flipping, and we will scale you to 6 figures together. And if we don't do it in 12 months, we will work with you for free until you get there. There is no offer out there that provides a guarantee like this. Will it be challenging? Absolutely. Will you be tested? Absolutely. But if you think you've got what it takes and you're ready to build a business that changes your life in 2024 and beyond, I want you to go to landinvestor.co/apply.